Welcome back to our podcast series for the better community. In this episode, Rising Together, we're diving into a story that many people in central Vietnam can relate to the floods that hit Hue and how communities, especially students, rose above challenges. Today, joining us is a weather expert who will help us understand the big picture of the Hue's weather in the past few weeks. And we also have a very special guest, a student from Hue University of Foreign Languages and International Studies, Hue University, who experienced the flooding firsthand. Joining us now is our weather expert, who has been tracking the situation day by day. Thank you for being here. Could you give us information on the weather conditions in Hue in the past 2 weeks?
Absolutely. Over the past few weeks, Hue has experienced a record-breaking rainfall. Some areas received between 450 and 900 millimeters, and in one 24-hour period, rainfall even exceeded 1,085 millimeters, the highest ever recorded in Vietnam.
That sounds unbelievable. With that much rain, what happened to the Huong River and Bo River?
Both rivers rose extremely quickly. At Phu Oc, the Bo River even surpassed its historic 2020 flood peak, while the Huang River reached levels close to the major flood in 1999.
And Hue didn't just face one flood, it faced three. Why did the flooding happen three separate times?
There were three main reasons. The first is the continuous heavy rainfall lasting many days. The second is the reservoir releases, because dams had to regulate rising inflow. The third is the back-to-back weather systems, meaning each flood arrived before the previous one fully receded.
So basically, Hue was overwhelmed, rain from the sky, water released from reservoirs, and no time to recover between floods.
Exactly. And by October 27th, 32 out of 40 wards in Hue were flooded with water depths from 1 to 2 meters.
When the water rises that high, everything gets disrupted. Schools close, students can't get to class, families struggle with food, electricity, transportation, and so on. Daily life becomes a challenge, and many homes as well as businesses suffer serious damage. But in the middle of all that hardship, something meaningful happened. Young people stepped up. Joining us today is also a student from Hue University of Foreign Languages and International Studies, Hue University, who was out there helping the community right after the floods. So, first, could you share with us what damages you personally witnessed during the floods? What did you see around you?
Honestly, it was overwhelming. Many streets in Hue were completely underwater. No electricity, some places even have water. Some houses in my neighborhood were flooded up to the windows. Shops had to close, and a lot of families lost furniture, electronics, and even their stored food.
That must have been difficult to see. And how did you feel in that moment when you saw the water rising, roads disappearing, and people struggling to move around?
At first, I was shocked. I'd never seen the water rise that quickly. People were scared, and many elderly neighbors needed help just to get to higher ground. We even had to use boats to move around the city because the streets were flooded. I felt worried, but also, I knew I had to do something.
I understand that feeling of I can't just sit and watch is powerful. When the water finally started to recede a little, what was the situation around the city like?
It was messy everywhere. Roads were covered in mud, trees had fallen, and trash was stuck along the sidewalks. Schools were closed, buses weren't running, and many people were still trapped in their houses because everything inside was soaked.
Right, daily life basically broke down for almost everyone. Did you notice anything about transportation or daily routines? How were people getting around?
Most of the time, they couldn't. Motorbikes were useless because the water was too high, and even small cars got stuck. People had to row boats through the flooded streets to get supplies or reach safe places. Again, boats were the main way people could travel until the water went down. Buying food became really hard because many markets were flooded.
That really paints the full picture of how disruptive the floods were. And in the middle of all that chaos, you decided to volunteer. What made you step up?
Seeing how exhausted everyone was. My friends and I felt that if young people didn't help, the recovery would take much longer. So, as soon as my university's youth union announced a call for volunteers to clean the streets, I didn't hesitate to sign up. And you know what? The number of volunteers went far beyond expectations. Some students were even eager for the university to open additional registration forms so more people could join.
How wonderful. When you and your friends started volunteering, what did you do first?
We organized groups to clean streets, remove debris, and support families who couldn't leave their homes. We even used boats to bring supplies where roads were blocked. It wasn't just students from my university. Students from many universities in Hue participated. Together, we tried to restore the city, making it green, clean, and beautiful again.
That's amazing seeing so many young people coming together to rebuild their community. Finally, after everything, what message would you like to share with listeners, especially students?
I just want to say, never underestimate the power of small actions. Helping your community doesn't have to be big. Even small efforts make a difference. And seeing Hue recover together was truly inspiring.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience and insights. Keep safe, keep helping, and good luck with your studies.
Thank you so much for having me today.
And thank you again to our weather expert for explaining the situation and helping us understand the challenges.
It was my pleasure. I hope today's discussion helps everyone understand not just the severity of the floods, but also the resilience and dedication of the young people in Hue. I also hope that the weather in Hue will improve soon so that people can truly return to their normal daily lives.
Thank you both so much for sharing your insights and your story. Rising Together is not just a title, it's what truly happened in Hue. Even in the hardest moments, our community stood up, hand in hand. Stay tuned for the next episode of For the Better Community. Until then, stay safe and stay inspired.